Rome, my favorite city, and my family vacation last summer was the best week of my life, seeing all the sights and spending time with my favorite people. But wait, I should go back to the beginning. You know those sayings like, the journey is the destination, and getting there is half the fun? Well, I don't believe them one bit, but at least I have a story to tell. It starts off like a normal travel day. My parents and I wake up and finish packing. I am ready to go, already yelling at everyone that they are late, while putting my suitcase in the car an hour before we are supposed to leave. My mom has had everything packed for weeks, and simply asks what I want for breakfast. My dad, like always, begins to pack his suitcase half an hour before we leave, and then still has to run errands. We have plenty of time, he says. Needless to say, we don't travel well together, and one day he is going to give me a heart attack. I pace around the house, checking and double-checking everything and anything until he is ready to go. Eventually, we are in the car and on our way to the airport, and soon enough, we will be smooth sailing over the Atlantic Ocean. We arrive and say goodbye to my dad. He is flying over on another flight, while my mom and I are flying through Toronto and meeting up with my brother and sister there. As we walk up to the gate, we notice that no one else is boarding. Our flight is delayed. No big deal, except it is going to cut our connection in Toronto close. But as long as we stayed on this time frame, we will be fine. So we take a seat. Everything will be okay, my mom tells me, and my inner thoughts echo her sentiment. It's going to be fine. I sit there, and waiting to board, I watch everyone else walking past. I love the hustle and bustle of airports, everyone chatting before they jet off to destinations around the globe. I try to hang on to the couple's conversation next to me, to keep my thoughts happy. They are on their way to their honeymoon. How nice. Finally, they are calling us up to board. We get in line and wait. And wait. And wait some more. Why aren't they letting us board? I'm just about to launch into a full-blown panic attack when the line starts moving. We scan our tickets, make our way to the plane, and take our seats. Before turning off our cell phones, we send one last text to my brother, telling him that we should make it in time. The plane backs up from the gate and taxis out to the runway, and stops. The pilot comes on the loudspeaker. We'll be waiting here for about 55 minutes before takeoff. What? I break out into uncontrollable sobs. We're never going to make it. My mom tries to talk me down. You know, if anyone is going to stop that plane from taking off, it's your brother. We're lucky that he's the one on the ground waiting for us. She's right. My brother has a tendency to be very vocal and persuasive, and if I was going to trust anyone to keep a 747 grounded, it would definitely be him. But the worst part was that we can't even call him. Our cell phones were turned off, and I felt completely isolated. My brother and sister have no idea where we are. The next 2 hours are the longest of my life. We finally take off, and I am silent throughout the flight. I can't read a book, or listen to music, or anything. My mom attempts to talk to me, but eventually gives up. I'm so jealous she can sit there and read her book while my thoughts continue in their downward spiral. The plane is eerily silent, as if it wants to echo my inner dread. I can only look out the window, trying to see any drops in altitude that would signal we were approaching the Toronto airport. The second we land, I have my phone out and calling my brother. Don't worry, he says. The flight's delayed. You have plenty of time. The tears start coming again, but thankfully this time they were happy tears. I had never felt so relieved in my life. My mom and I deplane and make our way through customs and towards our next gate. My mom strides along, looks in every shop, and asks if I want food. I, on the other hand, have one goal in mind. I need to get to that gate. Now. I'll always remember seeing my brother and sister as we make our way down an escalator. I run to them and hug them like I haven't seen them in years. They are laughing at my tears. Rude. They don't understand the hell I just escaped. But we are all together and ready to head across the Atlantic. No more problems. We're Italy bound. Right? We make our way to the boarding area and scan our tickets. I remember not being able to contain my smiles at this point. To me, there is nothing better than walking onto an airplane, smelling the sterilization, and seeing the package blankets on the seats. It just means I'm about to be somewhere amazing. I find my seats and hear the reassuring click of the seatbelt, and get out a piece of grape gum, my travel staple. We are ready for takeoff. I feel the familiar drop in my stomach as the wheels leave the ground. My ears pop as we continue our ascent. I watch out the window as the plane banks east. I see Toronto disappear behind me. We're on our way. About 3 hours into the flight, I am getting ready to settle in for sleep when I hear the pilot come over the loudspeaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a hydraulics problem with the plane and cannot cross the ocean like this. We're going to have to return to Toronto and fix it up. What? Not again? This time I manage to hold the tears back, only until we arrive in Toronto and they tell us our flight is cancelled and rebooked for the next morning. There goes an entire day of our vacation. My mom reminds me that we still have 8 more days and they were going to be great, but I have a hard time seeing past the next 12 hours. We make our way to the hotel they put us in for the night and try to get some sleep. The next morning, I am back to my normal self, waking everyone up 6 hours before the flight. Let's go, I scream. No way were we taking any chances. We make our way back to the airport and to the gate. They originally told us 9 a.m., but it's 9:45 by now and we still haven't boarded. And the board still says the flight is on time. After what seems like a lifetime of waiting, at 11:30 we finally board our 9 o'clock flight. I have never been afraid to fly before, but as we board the plane my anxiety catches up with me, and I am terrified. My hands shake as I snap my seatbelt in place. After the day I had been through, I really had no clue why I put myself through the stress. As we prepare for takeoff, I look at my mom and say, "This trip needs to be perfect. It needs to be worth it. It needs to remind me why I'm willing to do this." 8 hours later, and we are beginning our descent into Rome. I see the beautiful city lights from my window, and a smile breaks out on my face. Maybe this will be worth it after all. We get our bags, go through customs, and hop in a taxi. I can practically taste the spaghetti and the red wine that await. I can feel the culture surrounding me, even though we are 20 minutes away from any monument. As we hit the highway, I watch the speedometer hit 120 kilometers per hour, as only the Italians do. When in Rome, right? In the end, the vacation ended up being the most amazing week of my life. But when asked about my vacation, I don't go into stories about the times we went to the Colosseum or the Trevi Fountain. I tell the tale of our times in Newark Airport, and Toronto Airport, and then more Toronto Airport. I love detailing the insanity of the whole ordeal. I tell the story with a smile. I laugh.